In hockey, there's a tier above superstar, above generational. They call it the next one. At 18 years old, Macklin Celebrini is already being compared to Sidney Crosby. That's not a compliment. It's a death sentence. Right now, he's 19, on Canada's Olympic first line, not beside Crosby, ahead of him. This is what that weight actually does to a person. Macklin Celebrini was not built inside a hockey factory. He was built inside a family where competition was in the air and losing was treated like a personal failure by everyone in the house. His father, Rick Celebrini, represented Canada at the 1987 FIFA U20 World Cup in Chile, played professional soccer for the Vancouver 86ers, and captained the team through the mid-1990s. He became one of North America's leading sports physiotherapists and rose to VP of Player Health and Performance for the Golden State Warriors. His mother, Robin, was also a soccer player. This was a household that didn't just watch elite performance. It studied it, measured it, and lived inside of it. Rick and Robin never pushed their kids toward hockey specifically. Macklin and his siblings grew up doing gymnastics, swimming, soccer, tennis, and hockey all at once. The parents wanted healthy and happy children, not prodigies. But the pressure that filled the house didn't come from the parents. It came from within the kids themselves. Aiden, Macklin's older brother, described it plainly in an ESPN interview before the 2024 draft. When I say everyone in this family hates to lose, I mean hates. There have been chess matches where the competitors didn't talk to each other for a while. Fist fights broke out over mini sticks and pickup basketball. Even RJ, the youngest at 11 years old, was already talking about following his brothers to the NHL. The Celebrini household wasn't violent or dysfunctional. It was relentlessly competitive in a way that shaped how every one of those kids processed adversity from childhood. That environment came with a cost. Aiden was honest enough to say, "It's not always easy being the brother," he said, with Macklin sitting a few feet away. "You have your own challenges being compared to that, but at the end of the day, my love for him transcends all that. I'm so proud of him. I'm his biggest fan above all else." That is the part of the foundation nobody sees. Before the draft, before the records, before the label arrived, Macklin Celebrini had already learned what it meant to carry weight. The pressure wasn't new. Only the spotlight was. But here's what nobody talks about. The weight of being the next one doesn't break you on the ice. It breaks you when the arena goes dark. And for Macklin Celebrini, that breaking point came faster than anyone expected. After the move to California, Macklin joined the San Jose Junior Sharks U14 AAA team for the 2019-20 season. He was 13. He scored 49 goals and 45 assists for 94 points in 54 games. At that age, those numbers should not exist. But they did. He moved to Shattuck St. Mary's in Minnesota the following year, the same prep school that developed Sidney Crosby, Jonathan Toews, and Nathan MacKinnon. In 52 games with the 18U team, he put up 50 goals and 117 points. Then came the USHL. At 16, Celebrini signed with the Chicago Steel and posted 86 points in a single season, 46 goals and 40 assists, the most ever by an under-17 player in league history. He broke the previous record by 17 points. The league named him Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and Forward of the Year. He was the first player to sweep all three in a single season. At 16, scouts were no longer evaluating him. They were anointing him. Boston University came next. As a 17-year-old freshman, the youngest player in the entire NCAA, he recorded 32 goals and 32 assists for 64 points in 38 games. He became the youngest player in history to win the Hobey Baker Award, college hockey's highest honor, and only the fourth freshman ever to take it home after Paul Kariya, Jack Eichel, and Adam Fontilli. His coach, Jay Pandolfo, made it clear, we're not where we are today without Macklin Celebrini. The 2024 NHL Draft was a formality. San Jose selected him first overall at the Sphere in Las Vegas on June 28th. Joe Thornton, the greatest player in Sharks history, walked on stage to announce the pick.
From Boston University, Macklin Celebrini.
Celebrini had no idea Thornton would be there. The symbolism landed immediately. The franchise's past was handing the franchise's future directly to a teenager. Then came October 10th, 2024, his first NHL game. He scored his first goal 7 minutes and 1 second into the first period against the St. Louis Blues, a spinning backhand that deflected past the goaltender. It was the second fastest debut goal by a number 1 pick in NHL history, behind only Mario Lemieux in 1984. He added an assist on a Tyler Toffoli goal minutes later. At 18 years and 119 days old, he became the youngest player in league history to record 2 points in the first period of his debut. The arena chanted his name. The hockey world exhaled. He was the real thing. But this is where the wait starts compounding. Every level Celebrini entered, he dominated immediately and moved on before anyone could process what had just happened. Each time the bar rose, he cleared it faster than the one before. And every time he cleared it, the comparisons got heavier. Sidney Crosby's rookie season, 102 points. Youngest captain in NHL history. Instant legend. Macklin Celebrini's rookie season, 63 points on the worst team in hockey. The comparisons started immediately. Every turnover, every missed shot, every loss, the media brought up Crosby. Social media was worse. Is this the next generational talent, or just another overhyped bust? The pressure wasn't just about playing well. It was about being perfect. Because anything less than Crosby-level dominance meant failure. His shifts were measured against Crosby's rookie year. His totals were stacked against McDavid's debut. His trajectory was mapped against Gretzky's teenage seasons. The label didn't creep in slowly. It arrived all at once, attached itself to him, and never left. Being the most talented player on the ice protects you from a lot of things, but it doesn't protect you from what happens when the arena lights go off. 2 days after that debut, Celebrini was placed on injured reserve. A hip injury he had been managing since the preseason finally forced him out. He missed 12 games. The Sharks started the season 0-7-2 without him. When he returned on November 5th against Columbus, the losing didn't stop. It just included him now. The 2024-25 San Jose Sharks finished 20-50-12, the worst record in the NHL, dead last. Celebrini put up 63 points in 70 games, led the team in scoring, made the All-Rookie team, and was named a Calder Trophy finalist. None of it changed the outcome on the scoreboard. His plus-minus finished at -31. Night after night, he would generate chances and watch the team collapse around him. Being brilliant on a losing team doesn't feel like a triumph. It feels like isolation. But Celebrini wasn't going home to an empty apartment. Before the season started, the Sharks had arranged for him to live with Joe Thornton, the franchise's all-time leader in assists, a former first-round overall pick himself, and a player who had carried the exact same burden across 15 seasons in San Jose before that. Thornton was selected first overall by the Boston Bruins in 1997. He played 24 NHL seasons before announcing his retirement in 2023, 14th in league history with 1,539 points. He was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in November 2025. When Austin Matthews heard about the living arrangement, he said he was jealous. Matthews had lived with Thornton during his time in Toronto. What it looked like daily was not hockey mentorship in the traditional sense. Thornton didn't run drills or break down film at the kitchen table. He played basketball with his 12-year-old son River and Celebrini in the driveway. Thornton brought the same energy every day, no matter what happened the night before. Celebrini described it directly. It never seems like there's a bad day for him. It's great just to have that positivity and someone to come home to that's always happy and always keeping you going. He was not the only rookie being taught by a legend. Will Smith, the 4th overall pick from the 2023 draft, lived with Patrick Marleau, another Sharks icon. Smith and Celebrini had been rivals in college hockey and barely spoke before arriving in San Jose. By mid-season, they were inseparable. Smith captured the strangeness of it perfectly. Sometimes we talk about how crazy it is, living in their house and doing regular family stuff like playing board games and cards. They're going to be in the Hall of Fame. The deeper layer is the chain itself. When Marleau entered the NHL as an 18-year-old in 1997, he lived with veteran goalie Kelly Rudy. Now, Marleau was doing the same thing for Smith. Thornton was doing the same thing for Celebrini. Each generation passes down the same lesson to the next. Not how to play the game, how to survive the weight of being the one your franchise depends on. Thornton watched that transformation happen in real time, and what he saw told him something the rest of the league hadn't figured out yet. So the question became, can a 19-year-old actually carry this weight? Or will it crush him like it's crushed so many before? The second season didn't look like a step forward. It looked like a different player entirely. Celebrini opened 2025-26 by scoring 23 points in his first 15 games, temporarily becoming the NHL's leading scorer. The only other teenagers in league history to start a season at that pace were Wayne Gretzky and Steve Yzerman. By mid-December, he had a 5-point night against the New York Rangers, a hat trick and 2 assists, followed by another hat trick less than a month later against Utah in a 3-2 win. Through 55 games, he sat at 81 points, 28 goals, and 53 assists, fourth in the entire NHL behind Connor McDavid, Nathan MacKinnon, and Nikita Kucherov. He was 19 years old and tracking for 118 points on the season. The last teenager to reach that territory was Sidney Crosby with 120 in 2006-07. But the stat that told the real story was not the point total. Celebrini had been directly involved in over 50% of all San Jose Sharks goals. In the modern era, only Gretzky, Lemieux, McDavid, and Jagr have carried that kind of burden for their team. Washington Capitals coach Spencer Carberry broke down the gap in January 2026. Celebrini had 49 even-strength points. The next closest Shark had 23. The distance between him and the rest of his own roster was unlike anything Carberry had ever seen. In the first 10 games where Celebrini failed to register a point that season, San Jose lost every single one. Carberry did not hold back when asked about the MVP race. If I were a voter, he'd be my Hart Trophy pick. The numbers mattered because they came attached to something larger. A franchise that finished dead last the year before was now sitting at 27, 22-3 and fighting for a playoff spot. Attendance at SAP Center jumped 15%, the largest year-over-year increase of any NHL team. Players were getting recognized around San Jose for the first time in years. The building had energy again. Celebrini had done that. Not a free agent signing, not a blockbuster trade, a player who had lived through the worst season in franchise history 12 months earlier and came back as the reason the entire organization had a pulse. Sharks coach Ryan Warsofsky acknowledged it carefully. He's done a really good job of not letting all the outside noise affect his game, for the most part. That qualifier sat at the end of the sentence for a reason. For the most part. The noise was constant. MVP conversations before his 20th birthday. Media obligations every day. An entire city projecting its hope onto his shoulders because, without him, the math simply didn't work. Then, on December 31st, 2025, the phone rang, and the weight got heavier. Hockey Canada named Celebrini to the Olympic roster for the 2026 Milano Cortina Games. He was the youngest player on the team, the youngest player ever selected for Canada's men's Olympic hockey team. The weight he had been carrying for one franchise just expanded to include an entire country. February 8th, 2026. First practice in Milano Cortina. Canada rolls out their lines, and Celebrini is standing on the first unit. Not with Sidney Crosby, the man who specifically requested to play with him at the 2025 World Championship.
Yeah, I think he's an incredible player. His all-around game at his age is pretty impressive. I think having that experience at Worlds can only help. I'm sure he built confidence from that, I know.
With Connor McDavid, the best player on the planet. Crosby is on the third line with Mark Stone and Mitch Marner. Let that settle for a moment. The player Celebrini grew up idolizing, the man he instinctively deferred to at the 2025 World Championship, passing when he should have been shooting, is now behind him on the depth chart. Celebrini named the shift himself. When you play with someone you look up to, you look to defer to them and give them the puck. But they don't always want the puck. That single sentence carries the entire arc of this story. The moment a kid stops seeing himself as the apprentice and starts accepting that he belongs. McDavid saw it immediately. He's such a young guy, but to make this team, and not only to make this team, but he's going to be asked to play a big role. That's incredible. Coach John Cooper went further. He may be 19 years old, his physical body is, but his acumen for the game is not. He's wise beyond his years. I can't sit here and look at him as this kid. Celebrini was 3 years old when Canada won gold in Vancouver in 2010. Standing on Olympic ice, ahead of Crosby on the depth chart, the question isn't theoretical anymore. We're watching the answer in real time. Here's the truth. Macklin Celebrini isn't Sidney Crosby. He might never be. But he doesn't have to be. Crosby was generational. Celebrini can still be elite without matching that. The Sharks don't need a savior. They need a cornerstone. And at 19, carrying an entire franchise, an entire country, while standing on the same ice as the legends he grew up watching, his ceiling is a top-line two-way center who makes everyone around him better. That's not a consolation prize. That's exactly what great franchises are built on. The question isn't whether he'll live up to impossible expectations. It's whether he can build his own legacy while carrying the weight of everyone else's dreams. And if there's one thing we know about Macklin Celebrini, it's this. He's been preparing for this his entire life. The weight isn't crushing him. He was built to carry it. If you want hockey stories that go beyond the highlights and into what the game actually costs, subscribe to Skates and Scars. We tell the stories the league stopped talking about.